here are the picking sequences. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So every new string has the same picking motion as the string before it, and that's what makes this technique hard. You can play it like that or this. So it gives you, again, choices. The last exercise using economy picking outlines chords in a scale. And what I did was I wanted it to sound more happy, meaning more major, and I wanted to show another technique. And for example, it starts off like this. And it's just a really cool way to use this technique because you don't always have to go or what you can do too is just. And so I wanted to show you this because I've seen this with a lot of jazz and fusion guitar players where they'll just take a triad, now even though that's a 1/5 octave, or they might just go. And so I wanted to give you an exercise so that you have better control over that motion. So what I do is I start in D, then I play. Now you don't almost really hear this, that first note when you play it fast. Then I outline B minor 7, A7, G, then back to D. And it's a really good exercise to get your economy picking technique down. In order to be really fast on guitar, you've got 4 fingers and a thumb, you might as well use them. And I found so many people, even to this day, really don't use their little finger that much. So a lot of these exercises are designed to have you use what you're not used to using, and that is how you get faster. And so what I did in this etude is it really focuses on your 3rd and 4th finger. I mean, just the last part. Then, and so you're getting something that sounds good, it's catchy, but also is a great exercise for your fretboard hand. So here it is. legato technique, hammers and pulls. Why am I showing you this? First of all, it is a fantastic sound. It is 180 degrees away from alternate picking and in many ways even economy picking. Legato technique is really based on hammers and pulls. And what I mean by that is where you take a string, hammer on, pull off. And so it is much less with your picking hand and much more with your fretboard hand. You need more fretboard hand playing and much less picking. And why is this such a great technique? Because the sound is smooth. Legato in itself means smooth. And so it means flowing. And so that's the sound of this technique, and that's why I wanted to show you. So now you're armed with all these different weapons and tools that you can create your own kinds of sounds, your own kinds of solos. So here's the exercise. So what you in essence do is now you have more than one pick on your picking hand, and it is an amazing technique to use. It's a great sound, and it's a little smoother sounding, but you can also cover a lot of territory with this. And it is a great way to, again, have different sounds and have different techniques that you can use. And the exercise that I'm going to show you here is one that you can play pretty easily, and you'll be able to play it really fast. What did I just do there? Again, hybrid picking. And hybrid picking is such a great way to play guitar because you can do wide intervals or you could keep real close. And you have a really slippery, smooth sound versus alternate picking, which is more machine gun effect. So here's the next exercise. I've never had a hand injury playing guitar. And I said this in the original Speed Kills program, and all these years later, it's still true today. So why is that? I've been on major labels, not to blow my own horn, but I've played thousands of shows between the first filming of Speed Kills and today, where there's no film at all. It's all digitized. And so why haven't I been injured? I stand up, I tour all over the world, and it's very simply that a lot of the things that I said back then still hold true. And what are those things? One, I have good technique. Now, of course, I do tricks like the over-under, but that's purely for concert. But when I play guitar, I fret the guitar like a classical guitar player. Now, there's a reason for this. When you use old school technique and you put your thumb around the neck like this, when you vibrato, that's fine. You have to vibrato like a blues player. We didn't touch much about that in this program. Why? Because we're here to play fast. Okay, but when you use a vibrato, it's perfectly okay to do this. I do this myself, but you don't want to spend 2 hours playing like this. So my technique's like this. So I can stand on a stage anywhere on planet Earth and play with a hand that's relaxed. My wrist is relaxed. And I use economy of motion. When I play, I don't move my fingers very far from the strings. That doesn't mean you can't use wide fret groupings. What it means is that the less you move, the faster you can become. Now with my right hand, I'm left-handed. And I was also vertically challenged as a child, so I was a little dude playing guitar. Literally, when I was 12 years old, I was one of the tiniest, as far as height, kids in my class. And so my arm was so tiny that I could barely hold a guitar. And so I literally used my fingers to grip the guitar, to grab the strings to play something. And then as I grew and my arm got much bigger, I realized that putting your hands on a guitar means nothing. I found that if you use a technique like Al Di Meola or other guitar players where it's a free-floating system, it means nothing. If you use your elbow versus your wrist or your wrist versus your elbow, it really means nothing in the big picture, that your technique's not going to be better than someone else's. Here's what I've found out. The common denominator is not how you hold a pick, what you do with your fingers, whether you use your wrist or your elbow. It's what you do right here. And all of the greatest guitar players that I've seen, professionals, never flick their thumb and their index finger when they play fast. They play like this, doesn't flick. They play like me, it doesn't flick. When you play slow, that's a different story. But medium speed to fast speed, they don't. So when you practice your tremolo, that is your PPS. Once you have your potential picking speed, I would pretty much guarantee it. You might be one of those very few that do this really fast. If that works for you, go for it. But once you have that technique, you're fine. You're good. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to have paralysis through analysis. Once you have your technique, go with it, because if it works for you, pretty much it's a good technique. So anyway, I hope this helps. I've never had a hand injury because I care about how I play. I watch myself, and I found by just a few simple things, watching the way your wrist meets your hand when you play guitar. Look at how easy that is. Look at my picking hand. When I play like this, my wrist does that. That's it. It's hardly any motion. That's why I've never been hurt, because I don't move a whole lot. So I hope this helps. I have found, especially being a right-handed guitarist, which I am a right-handed guitarist, I'm also a left-handed guitarist, but I was born left-handed. And I found that a lot of right-handed guitar players, having their picking hand as their dominant hand, are innately good at tapping. And tapping is a technique that you can sound very, 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 very fast. And what I wanted to show you is an arpeggio that's based on this tapping technique that moves in all 6 strings. Because gone are the days when people... Now it's so much more advanced.